Yo, 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 what's going on? It's the NRW, where nerds rule the world. It's your boy, Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange. And I'm here with my buddy Glenn Lawrence of Level Up Comedy.
What's going on?
What's up, brother? We're going to be chatting all about Fear Street. We had a great time watching all three parts on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, head over to Netflix, check it out. It's a good time, good stuff. If you love horror, love a mixing of a bunch of different genres, it's really cool. And today I'm super excited to have on one of the amazing stars who's a star on the rise, I'd like to say. She's building. I love it. I went and checked out some of her credits. So I want to check out some of these other short films she's had on. But we're going to have fun right now. We're going to talk all about her getting involved with Fear Street and maybe other projects she has down the line. Let's bring her on right now. I'm going to put it up on here because, we're doing this via Zoom now. It's different in this new age of the pandemic and everything. But there she is on the screen, Miss Julia Rehwald. You don't hear Julia, but I'm deafening everybody with air horns because we're super excited to have you on. What's up, Julia?
Hello.
Welcome. ¿Cómo está?
Good. I'm good.
So excited to have you. Thank you again for your time. We really appreciate you. We really enjoyed you on Fear Street. You had a very interesting character and arc, if you will. What was it like landing the part of Lizzie / Kate Schmidt on Fear Street?
It was kind of crazy. The whole thing was kind of wild. It was like, I think they were casting it out of LA, but I am located in New York. So my audition was like, I just did a self-tape in my apartment with my roommate, and then we sent it in. And then the next thing I heard was that Lee, our director, was coming to New York with Carmen Cuba, our casting director, to see the people who are in New York that they didn't get to see in person yet. And we did the same two scenes in the room a few times and like worked on it, and then I left, and then the next day they were like, okay, like we have you on hold for it, stay tuned. And then it was like a couple days later that I got the official call that I booked it. It was just kind of, yeah, it was kind of crazy because it was like, I feel like as an actor, if I was to like write out a character that like I think would play to all my strong suits, it's like Lee literally wrote it with Kate.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was super cool seeing you portray that character, and also seeing like this horror type of genre. It's like a throwback to all those old school horror movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, it's so amazing. Did you used to watch those movies, and what was it like being now in one of those franchises?
Yeah, I've always been a big horror movie fan since I was like a kid. I'd always get scared. I'd always get very scared. But when I was a child, I thought it was just fascinating to watch scary movies that I shouldn't be watching. And then I would have nightmares and like cry about it. And then that just like never really went away. I just always loved watching horror movies. I'm like, as I feel like a lot of us are, I'm a huge Scream fan. That's like I love Scream. And my other favorite that I've always like obsessed with is I Know What You Did Last Summer. And those two actually, I think, helped me create Kate a lot too in Fear Street, because the vibes, I was like, okay, similar vibe for the movie. And my favorite characters, two of my favorite horror movie characters ever is like Tatum Riley and Helen Shivers. I'm like, like those, I love them in their movies. And I think I was like, okay, that's kind of funny that like, I feel like Kate has such a similar vibe to them and their role in like the Fear Street world. And I was like, this makes sense. This is cool. So it's kind of cool. It was fun because my best friend from back home too is like a huge Scream fan. So she like FaceTimed me as soon as she watched the first one. And she was like, oh my God, I got all of the references. I noticed everything. And I was like, yes, exactly.
Awesome. I have to ask you, as an actor myself as well, and I recently just did a Netflix project that's going to drop in November. When did this, filming in this pandemic time, was this filmed pre-pandemic? And what was that like? And, and how was that, getting on set and everything?
Yeah, so this was filmed pre-pandemic. And it was supposed to come out last year. And then, but the pandemic just like delayed the release by like a full year. So luckily we did get to shoot the whole thing, all 3 movies, like in a row before COVID happened. And then it was and then I think we lucked out because by the time the movies came out, we were lucky enough to be able to have the in-person premiere events, which were all outside and everything. And like, we could actually all get together again and experience watching the movies with an audience. And it was like, yeah, I think we had one photo shoot before the movies came out that we just still had to, that was the only event we had that had a bunch of like COVID protocols where we like had to have masks on when we weren't shooting our photos and whatnot. But other than that, it was like we filmed it before the pandemic, and then they were like the movies were released. It feels like right when the pandemic was starting, we were starting to get a hold of like how to handle it. So it was, I think we kind of like we had good timing in that sense.
Awesome. At least got to experience each other, because that's what it's all about when you're on set, is kind of getting that vibe and talking. And now, man, it was just crazy for me recently filming that just everybody was so separated out, and that's part of the ambiance and the fun of being on set. So that's great. So can you give us like any stories from set, what it was like and just the vibe with everybody and working with people?
Yeah, it was it was great. We all got along really well, and we're all still in touch with each other. It's like the cast is really close. So it was kind of just like a constant hanging out and like jokes and whatnot. And because especially with 1994, I think like almost like everything was a night shoot essentially, like because everything that was outside and whatnot, we were shooting late nights a lot, and there was always just a point in the night where we all at the same time just lost our minds, like collectively.
I know that.
And, like, the strange thing is we have like a lot of like inside jokes that we joke about still that came from like those late night like pockets of delirium, but we can't remember where they came from or like why this phrase was funny, because we're like where did that joke come from? Like it just like manifested out of nowhere. I'm sure like nothing even happened, but in our state of being, we were like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
So speaking of where, you did a short film called Where's Darren? I watched it. I saw that. That was pretty cool. What was it like jumping from something like that to moving to a franchise like this that has like so much range, because you were in 1994 and then you go back to 66. What was it like kind of making that jump and then playing something where you have all that range?
Yeah, so that project is actually, that was literally just, so I was studying abroad in London in college when I filmed that. And then my best friend from high school, who we used to do theater together, he was also studying abroad in London in a different program at the same time. And he's a film major. And he was like, I want to just do I want to like shoot this short film that I wrote. Like, when do you have time? Like, can you do that around your like class schedule? I was like, I feel like we can make that work. And it was literally just like him and like shooting it on his like film camera. And then like me and a couple guys that he found at the study abroad program that he was doing. And it was just like the 4 of us pretty much on the weekends, whenever we weren't like swamped with school, just like going around London and like filming wherever we could. And so it was really nice. It was really crazy to go from like a very intimate, like very, you know, like kind of just making it as we go with whatever budget we had. Like our costumes were ours, like everything was just ours. And then I guess, yeah, and then I did another short film that I found on Facebook after that, because I was like in like a Asian American like actors Facebook group, and someone posted they were looking for people, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So to go from like projects that were very small and like very like short and quick, and then to jump to Fear Street, was like. I don't know if my brain ever fully processed it, you know, because I was like, okay, I'm like post grad. I'm like, I was expecting I'll like do a couple lines on like SVU, and then I'll do like another thing where like I have
Paying our dues, right?
Right.
Paying the
yeah, I
dues.
was like, oh, I'll like slowly learn how a film set works and like inch my way up. Like I'm prepared for that. Like, let's do it. And then it felt just like they're like, nope, you're gonna go straight in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Because
was
like Fear Street was like what? It wasn't it number one on Netflix for like a good like couple of weeks there, like all the different. So you go from like doing something short indie, and then all of a sudden it's like number one on Netflix, which has launched so many people's careers and all this type of stuff. That's super cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember going to set on the first day and I was like, oh my God, there's so many people, there's so many things and moving parts. I was like, okay, so this is how a rehearsal works. This is how like the blocking works. This is like I learned how everything works as we went. And I was like, okay, like, and you kind of I feel like it is a good way to learn because you're like you kind of have to.
For sure. Yeah. So my oh my God moment in Fear Street, which I love in horror movies, it's when people do the hairspray flamethrower. What was it like doing the hairspray flamethrower? Because that's always to me like one of the coolest little pieces of like a horror movie or action movie where it's like, and was that real? No, that couldn't have been real. Was that real?
Yeah, it was real. And we just practiced it like we were filming like in the grocery store, which was like a real grocery store that we used. And they like walked me through how to do it and then like let me go in like the back alley and like test it out a couple times. And it was like a little nerve-wracking because it's like if you don't get it right, like sometimes like the flame lingers and then I'm walking into it, or like sometimes like this like hairspray can get a little drippy and you're like, oh no. But I was like, okay, like let's do it. Yeah. And so I only ended up doing one take of it because I think because it was one of the stunts that was fully practical. They didn't want to do it as many like more than they had to because you know there were people with like an actual flame. So we did it once and then it was like the perfect like shot and they were like, great, like that's it. And I was like, I can do it again. And they were like, we're good.
Hairspray flamethrower is like a one shot, one take type situation.
Yeah, they were like, okay, on to the next shot.
I have to ask you, Julia, one of my favorite things that I look forward to, hopefully in a project like this, Fear Street, is when they kill you, when you get killed in this. So hashtag spoilers, but people know you're in part 3. So, you know, hey, and if you haven't seen Fear Street, you have go stop this right now and go check it out. But hashtag spoilers. Your kill scene. Amazeballs. What did you think when you finally saw it after, you know, filming it and the final product? Because it's kind of crazy. It's like, I don't know, maybe that's morbid in my sense, but as an actor, like I look forward to that. Like I want to see that, you know. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I was really looking forward to filming that. And I was really looking forward to seeing how it would actually look in the end. Because I guess it's part of making movies where like when you're on set and you're filming it, you still don't understand what it's actually going to look like because there's so many things that come in when they are editing it and they add in visual effects and they like stitch it all together. So to see the final product, I was like, that's so sick that like it ended up looking like that. That's like exactly how I would have wanted it to end up coming across. Cause it was like one whole day of shooting for me was just the grocery store sequence from the flame through to me dying, like just that one bit. And it was the most physically exhausting day, emotionally exhausting. Yeah. So to see it end up like just like with the like weight that I wanted it to have, it made me feel really good.
It was emotionally exhausting for me too. I was so upset. I was like watching the whole thing, like, because you know, in the movie, you're like, all right, how's she going to get out of this one? All right, who's going to come save her? And then like it didn't. And I was like, no, like I literally said, I don't normally, I'm not that expressive watching things because I see things all the time. And I'm just like, no, like what? No, like I literally did that. But it was cool to see you come back in the third part and, kind of get a different role. How cool was it during that period piece? Because you guys all had accents and it just seemed like the cast was really kind of like congealed, you know what I mean? To be able to all take your roles and then switch them all around and do a different time period. How was that?
Yeah, it was really different than 94, but it kind of like once we started it, it was easy to get into the mindset of being in the period because we were literally like they built the village like in a field somewhere. We were in the period costumes, covered in dirt and sweat. And you're like, okay, yeah, we're in the world now. And it was great because we got to that's when we got to meet Emily and McCabe and Sadie, who are in the 1978 movie, and we all got to like meet each other and like hang out and film together on 1666 before they shot 78. So it was just nice to like get everyone together and like in the thick of it before they went on. It was like a little bit of a baton pass, but it was great. It was definitely a different vibe than 94, but definitely it was so hot. It was whenever I think of filming, because we did it in July, I think, like in Atlanta, and it was just like you're fully in it. There's like farm animals everywhere. There's like a goat, there's a pig, there's flies. It's like you're fully in the village. But it was fun. It was like, and we got to shoot a lot of scenes where like our 1666 group is like the bonfire stuff and like going through town and like saying hi. Like we had a lot of more scenes where we got to like be with these characters before things got bad. Whereas in 94, things got bad pretty quick. And then we were with each other when things were bad. So there was like a few more scenes where we got to like kind of show off like the fun vibes that we have together.
So earlier you were saying like this character was kind of like you in a way, most like you when you finally got it. So was there anything that was difficult to connect with the character, or like you automatically knew how you wanted to play it? Was there or was there anything that you were worried about? I'm totally messing up my question right now, but like just how was it to like finally get it? You did your read, you got the role. What was the most worried part you or scene when you finally did it that bothered you most, and then how were you feeling coming out of it?
What was your biggest fear for Fear Street? I think.
Hey, there we go. Good one, Glenn.
Yeah. I actually, like, funny enough, felt like I knew exactly what I wanted to do with Kate as soon as Lee sent me the script. Because I remember me and Kiana and Olivia, like, we flew out to Atlanta like a week or two before we started filming to do some like pre-production stuff. And we all had meetings with Lee to discuss characters. And I remember sitting down in my first one-on-one and Lee was like, I feel like you know. And I was like, yeah, I feel like I do too. And she's like, so do you have any questions? And I was like, I don't think so. And she's like, yeah, I kind of figured. And I was like,
brush them shoulders off, swag.
we were like, great, we got it. And then any questions that I would have as we'd go along, I'd just talk to Lee and we'd like figure it out whenever anything came up. But yeah, Kate made a lot of sense to me, the way that Lee and Phil had written her out, which was nice for me. I'd say biggest fear going into it, I think, well, it was, there were two. I wanted to, there's the scene where Kate wants to throw Sam out in the hall and just get it over with in the high school. And that was the audition scene that I had for Kate. And something that Lee and I both talked about is that, like, Kate is not a bitch. Like, she's not there to, like, be cutthroat and have no feelings about it. she's like just practical and realistic. Like she's at the end of her rope because they've tried everything, nothing's working. This is like seemingly the only answer that they have. So I think I really wanted to make sure it came across like that instead of like the person in a horror movie who doesn't care about anyone else and wants other people to die so that they can survive. And I think you see that in Kate, because the second they realize that there is another way, she's like, okay, let's do that. Let's get her back. Let's all finish this. So I wanted to make sure that I could balance her thought process in that scene. And then the other one, which we kind of talked about, is the grocery store scene with Skull Mask, which I was most excited for. But at the same time, it's like, if it didn't turn out like as something I'd be proud of acting wise, like that would kill me. Because I like, you can't hold back, I think, in both the like fighting back against Skull Mask and like the desperation to fight and survive, and then also like with both physically and vocally, like with the screams and yelling and everything. Like you can't half-ass that, or if it's not going to have the emotion, like you're not going to feel stressed that something bad's going to happen. So I really wanted to make sure I could like dive straight into that performance for that scene to make sure that it had like an impact. Yeah.
So you did that, girl. You did that.
You did that.
You basically, you definitely accomplished that goal. So now you've conquered horror. I'm gonna say you conquered it. You know what I'm saying? You conquered horror. What other type of genres of movies would you like to get into next? Like, what do you want to do next? Are we going to see you in like, you know, a Die Hard action thing, or is it rom-com? What's next for you, Julia?
Because you're a star on the rise, and we're ready to see more. Like you did that, and now we'd love to promote and highlight anything you have going forward.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm working on next just yet. I'm still figuring that out, and I think for genre, I'm like I kind of am open to like anything. I love rom-coms. I'm obsessed with rom-coms. I love but also I love more quiet dramas, and then big sci-fi world building, like action type movies. I think to me, because I watch like every movie under the sun that I can watch ever. I just, as long as there's a good story and a good character, despite whatever genre it is, like I would be into that. It's more about the actual like story and the character for me, because I feel like you can find good quality stuff in any genre, and I like a lot of genres. So whatever, I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely could see you jumping into a Marvel universe or a DC universe. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I could, like the way you handled the action. I'm like, I could see that. I would be down for that.
And I do nerd out on quite a bit of like comic and superhero type stuff, so I would not be opposed to that.
I love that. And hey, Glenn, I'm gonna say you took a Professor X moment right there, because my second to last question, because the NRW is part of the Nerds of Color. One of the questions we ask is like our final question is, if you had to do a TED Talk on any particular subject, what are you most passionate nerd about? What on a nerdy subject, what would it be? So like, what would you nerd out about?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. There's what?
Someone used to take you to task. What could you know more about them than anything? Like, no, I got bars on this. Like, you can't challenge me on this. I know this more than, like what could you go to task on? Nerding about.
Oh, let me think. I feel like I have a few options off the top of my head.
Okay.
Probably say, I mean, okay, I can go, okay. I guess I'm realizing I like a lot of potentially nerdy things. But maybe, definitely probably an anime.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I watch quite a lot of anime.
My daughter just got into Fruit Baskets and
Oh,
Demon
whoa.
Slayer. Like, I don't know where that came from, but she's into
Maybe
both of
it's Demon
those.
Slayer. Ooh, because
Mm.
I did finish the manga as well for Demon Slayer because I couldn't wait for um, the movie to come out. So as soon as season 1 was over, I, in quarantine, binge read
Oh
all of
wow.
the manga online.
Okay.
So maybe I was gonna say Haikyuu, but I think Demon Slayer, I could probably do a hefty rant on that. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we just subscribed to Funimation yesterday because apparently she finished both first two seasons of Fruit Baskets, and she's like, it's only on season 3 is only on Funimation. So yeah, she's all about that now. And the Demon Slayer movie apparently is on Funimation. So shout out to Funimation. We love the sponsorship. There you go. There's a highlight. Julia, where can we find you online for people that want to check you out and follow what you're doing with your career and everything? Do you have like websites or socials that you want to give out that we can let the people know?
Yeah, I'm probably most active on Instagram, which is my name is JulieB_Maria, which was a play on Jollibee.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be Jubilee like X-Men from my nerdness.
It could be. It's very close, but it was that's just what I had it as before, and then I went from like 900 followers to like quite a lot very quickly, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
and
Right?
everyone's like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me spell it out." But I think it's already there, so I'm just gonna stick with it.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Julia, thank you so much for your time. You're amazing. We are going to definitely be cheering from over here on the sidelines as your star rises and rises. It's outstanding. And again, from a fellow Filipino, I love that you represent your Filipino-ness. And yeah, I'd love to have you on Show Pal Show down the line, which is my Filipino spotlight show. But this was amazing. Yes, congrats. Salamat po. Thank you so much. We love you and we really appreciate your time. Glenn, sign us up out of here. We'll let them where they can reach out to you.
All right. You can always find me, Glenn Lawrence Comedy, Level Up Comedy, Blur That Podcast. We'd like to drop those every week, and we're going to have some double weeks coming up. So check us out there. So Blur That Podcast, Level Up Comedy, and Glenn Lawrence Comedy. So you can find me.
All right. Kuya P at Show Pal Show, at the Nerds of Color, at NRW. And yeah, you know all of that. Everything will be in the description below. But Julia Rehwald, you're amazing. We love you. Fear Street, go check it out. It's on Netflix right now. All the best, all the love. We are out of here. NRW, nerds rule the world.
Peace.
All right.
Well, it's the NOC in full color. You see me? The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah.
Hey, this is Julia Rehwald. I'm going to be on the NRW to talk about Netflix's Fear Street. Come check it out. Hi, this is Julia Rehwald. I'm going to be on the NRW to talk about Netflix's Fear Street. Come check it out. What does being a nerd of color mean to me? I feel like it's just kind of a part of who I am. I am half Filipino and very proud of my heritage, and I am probably, I would say, a very big nerd. And I've learned to embrace that side of me as well. And I think it's just really exciting to get to kind of mesh those things both together for this project on Fear Street and to get to talk about it. And to get to try to promote more representation on screen. I think it's really important. And as someone who's half Filipino, I would really like to keep the ball rolling and get more half Filipinos, more full Filipinos on screen, and get to like have little kids look up and be like, they look like me, you know? So not gonna ramble any more than that. Gonna stop myself right there.